Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm finally getting around to reviewing The Subtle Knife. I just didn't film the video. I finished this book a long time ago. Um, and for my non-spoiler thoughts, I don't have a lot of thoughts on this book. It was okay. This is an incredibly short book. This is, what, 300 pages? And it was fine. I liked it significantly less than, The Golden Compass. I don't know, I just didn't like it as much. I don't think the characters worked for me as much. It felt like a lot. It felt like it was trying to do too much. I really didn't enjoy it. I think it lost a lot of the simplicity that I enjoyed about the first book. And the complex stuff it replaced itself with wasn't really my cup of tea. I think the religious allegory was a lot more muddled and confusing and made a lot less sense in this one as well. I don't like a lot of the direction a lot of the characters took, and it just felt like it was too much, especially compared to, like, the thing I liked about this original book was it was well written simplicity, and this just seems like okay written complexity. And I'm going to enjoy well written simplicity a lot better than okay written complexity. And I didn't jive with this book as much as I did the first one. Not to say it's bad. A lot of elements I liked. I think the characters are still pretty strong in this book, and there are a lot of really awesome scenes. And I do like how some characters ended up and where parts of the story went. I think there are a lot of interesting ideas present in the book. It just felt like it was such a short period to try to introduce and flesh out these ideas. I just don't think it was executed as well as the first book. It just felt like the book was trying to do too much, and it kind of just ended up, for me at least, feeling muddled and confusing. It also doesn't have the same through line that the first book had. We generally follow one character in the first book. We might flash to a different perspective here and there, but it's typically one character. This one, we're following, like, five. It's just more complex. It's just more. And I just don't think it works as well together. I think those more negative aspects kind of just drowned out the more positive. And so, like, there was positive things here and there, cool ideas, interesting concepts and storylines. It just didn't, come together, and kind of felt more overshadowed by just the over complexness of the book as a whole. So it was fine. I didn't love it. I'm sorry. But I will return in a second for my more spoiler-filled thoughts. When it comes to my spoiler-filled thoughts, my biggest gripe was, I just didn't like how Lyra's character transitioned in this book. She fills a much more subservient role in this book. I feel like even at times she's a little too timid, especially around Will. That's what's in, I thought I knew as well. Especially around Will, I think that I don't like how much of a side, like, I like Will. I think he's a good character. I think his story is compelling. I think his background's compelling, but I think that I didn't love how he kind of took all of the thunder away from Lyra, and just something I wasn't particularly fond of. I think it was I didn't like how what her character transitioned into in this book. Like I said, Will's character is actually a highlight of the book for me. I actually really, really liked his character. I thought that was enjoyable. I enjoyed a lot of their kind of excursions around Oxford, and talking with the researcher, and I think I like her character as well. And that was actually my favorite part of the book, is Lyra and Will kind of exploring and kind of dealing with the police and all that kind of stuff in Oxford. My favorite part. I really enjoyed it, and it kind of got more of the simplicity that I enjoyed about the first book than the rest of the book, which for me was just too much. When they're in this, and for me, especially in that second world where Will and Lyra were spending a lot of their time, because it acted as this kind of, like, coming together place where everyone kind of ended up for this big battle. or big confrontation. It just ended up kind of feeling muddled, and without, it just kind of felt like a place for things to happen. It didn't feel like a living, breathing place, which settings are just as important. I think settings can be a character in of themselves. I think Ankh-Morpork in Discworld is a great example of that, how a setting can be a character. And I feel like this setting, which we spent a significant amount of time, didn't have character. It just kind of felt like empty earth with some kids, and the kids were there because their parents are dead. That's how it felt to me, and I just think that the lack of character for that setting was a huge detriment to the story as a whole, because the more interesting the setting, the more interesting the things that happen in it. And I think the best stories have these very dynamic, interesting, living settings around them. I didn't mind the antagonists in this book. Well, at least the two antagonists that we meet kind of in Oxford in that world. I think they were both pretty interesting, and I'm excited to see where they go next. We didn't get a ton with them, but it was relatively enjoyable between the two of them. They functioned quite well as antagonists, and though they felt a little less, yeah, I like, once again, it just kind of felt like a worse version of the Golden Compass, but they functioned well. Going back to Lord Astrid and Lyra's father and everything that happened there, it just felt like too much. It felt like it. I think the religious allegory was quite lost in this book. I think it was very profound. I think it worked really well. The dangers of those organizations in religion and how they can be used for evil. This one, he's just like, I'm gonna kill God. It felt like a lot of the complexity disappeared when it comes to the actual allegory itself. It went from maybe not quite Pratchett levels of allegory to, not allegory, but Pratchett levels of satire and critique to it just was confusing. Everything about what happened there was confusing. The witch stuff, which kind of goes hand in hand with that, was fine. Once again, it was serviceable. I really actually like the Texan, the ballooner, who one of my favorite stories across the whole thing. I loved him and his character and what he did. But yeah, I think overall the point I want to get out is that it feels like a more complex but less polished version of this. I think this of the Golden Compass. I think it made a lot of the simplicities more complex. It added more world building and new ideas and cool new concepts. But I don't think it gave itself the proper time to flesh those concepts out. I think when it tried to give itself the proper time, it didn't flesh them out as much as I would have hoped. And I think a lot of the things the first book did well just kind of felt lackluster here in the Golden Compass. Not to say that it does not have good parts. It does. There are a lot of things I enjoyed about this book. But as a whole package, I think that those negatives and what was missing far overshadow what was actually present, and it just kind of left me with a disappointing reading experience. I haven't finished the Amber Spyglass. I read 5 pages in, then I lost it, and the library got it back, and they're trying to take my books because it's senior year and they want their books back. So I maybe a lot of these complexities get explained in the Amber Spyglass, and it certainly is a lot larger of a book, and it looks like it has the time to kind of go into them. But at least for now, his Dark Materials is kind of going on a downward trajectory for me. But thank you guys so much for watching. Great. Thank you guys for the amazing response on my last video, my 100 subscriber special. Coming up, I will be reviewing Mistborn. This was a reread, and so I just wanted to review it because, yeah, why not? And then I will be reviewing Babel. After that, that was a request from one of my subscribers. After that, what I'm currently reading is I will find myself another copy of the Amber Spyglass so I can actually finish the series. And then I just got Before They're Hanged. I just picked that up from the library, so I'll be jumping into that. I am taking a little bit of a break. I've been reading some more Batman comics, so I might be a little slower on that. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.